Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Let's talk about the final benefit that is out there for you as a disabled veteran or a veteran in general. Now, I want to jump into this, share this information with you because let's face it, proper planning prevents poor performance, right? So that holds true here as well. So the more that you can front load and get prepared for the final benefit, the better off everyone else will be. So let's jump into it. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, I really do appreciate it if you do. And if you want to support the channel in other ways, please consider being a member. You can do that by going to the homepage. You'll see the highlighted members and a join button. Thank you so much to all you members. I really do appreciate your support. All right, so jumping into this, if you haven't guessed yet, what I am talking about is burial, right? You have national cemeteries, you have the state veteran cemeteries. You can be buried at a traditional cemetery and have your, your military headstone and marker and all that good stuff. I'm specifically going to talk about the national cemeteries. Now, it's basically going to hold true for your state veteran cemeteries as well. The state cemeteries might have some different kind of qualifiers you'd want to get with your state, with a state cemetery. My suggestion before we jump into this at all is if you believe you want to be buried at a veteran cemetery, go to that cemetery if there's one near you, which between the state cemeteries and the federal national cemeteries, it should be drivable. Now, go there, check it out. Talk with the director of that specific cemetery and ask them questions. Now, I'm going to jump through this. Again, there's kind of two different versions here. You have the national cemeteries, you have the state cemeteries. The state cemeteries look and feel like a national cemetery because they have to in order to get the money from the federal government. So even though it's a state cemetery ran by state employees and all that stuff, they get reimbursed for burials and stuff through the VA. So in order for that to happen, they have to, look and feel like a national cemetery, that same type of model. So the headline, or not really headline, the title here is Schedule a Burial for a Veteran or Family Member. I'm just going to kind of go through it, bring it to your awareness, and we'll see what we can figure out. So it says here, find out how to make burial plans for a veteran, spouse, or dependent family member. How do you schedule a burial for a veteran or other family member? If you have, now there's two different kind of versions here. If you have a pre-need decision letter already that confirms your eligibility, and then the other, you don't have one, right? So first we're going to start off with you already have a pre-need decision letter that confirms eligibility, right? So this goes to that proper planning aspect. So to start, you or the funeral director can call the National Cemetery Scheduling Office, and I'll put this information, or at least as much of it as I can, as well as a link to it in the description. So you would call the National Cemetery Scheduling Office at 800-535-1117 to request a burial. The folks there are there Monday through Friday, 8 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and they're also there on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It says to keep in mind that the pre-need decision letter doesn't identify a specific cemetery or gravesite, since it's not possible to reserve these in advance. In some cases, we may review your eligibility again at your time of death, as law and circumstances may have changed since your pre-need application. You don't need to do anything else except prepare yourself and your family for the funeral. Next, it says, if you don't have a pre-need decision letter, what do you need to do, right? So already we know it's probably better to have a pre-need decision letter. Just makes it a little bit easier for everybody else. So it goes on here to say, to start, you may want to choose a funeral director to help you plan the burial. Then either you or your funeral director will need to take these 3 steps to schedule the burial. So you can do this on your own, and it actually said that there, right? It says you or the funeral director would need to take these 3 steps. So number 1, gather the information and documents you'll need to identify the deceased when you call the National Cemetery Scheduling Office. You'll need the DD 214 or other discharge documents of the veteran or service member whose military service will be used to determine eligibility for burial in a VA national cemetery. Their discharge from service needs to have been under conditions other than dishonorable. We may also need other documentations to verify a relationship to the veteran or the status of a dependent. These may include death certificate, letters from your doctor, a divorce decree, a statement from the Social Security Administration, or other documents to support your claim. There's some hyperlinks there. We're going to skip past those. This is kind of wave top. If you can't find these documents, please ask for help from the VA and when you call them. It may take the VA several days to check eligibility if you don't have discharge documents. Next, there's a notation. It says discharge documents aren't usually needed for scheduling when a veteran or eligible dependent is already interned in a national cemetery. You'll also need this information about the deceased: name, gender, social security number or military service number, date of birth, relationship to the service member or veteran whose military service will be used to decide eligibility. Because remember, it's the veteran and spouse or dependents, that type of stuff. Marital status and date of death. You'll need this information about the next of kin, the closest living relative of the deceased: name, relationship of the deceased, relationship to the deceased, social security number, phone number, address. You may also need more information in certain cases. 3 bullet points here. If the person was married, you'll also need the surviving spouse's status as veteran, service member, or family member. If the person has any children with disabilities, you'll need to identify the status and detailed information for any disabled children who may be buried in the future in a national cemetery. If the person's spouse passed away previously and was buried in a VA national cemetery, you'll need the full name of the spouse as well as the cemetery section and site number where they're buried. Okay, that's all number 1. Now we're getting into number 2. Number 2, decide on the burial details and gather all related information. You'll need to tell us this information. And there's 4 bullet points here. The cemetery where you'd prefer the veteran, spouse, or dependent family member to be buried. You can there's hyperlinks for national cemeteries as well as state veteran cemeteries, both listed here on the VA's website. The type of burial you'd like for the person: casket or cremation, the size of the casket or cremation urn, the type of grave site memorial you'd like. This may be a headstone, grave marker, niche cover, or medallion. Any religious emblem or optional inscription that you'd like on the headstone or marker. The person is a veteran. If the person is a veteran or reservist, you'll need to tell us if you'd like the burial honors or memorial items such as these: a burial flag, a presidential memorial certificate, other possible military honors beyond the playing of taps, and flag folding and presentation. There's a couple other hyperlinks. Moving on to number 3. Number 3 is a couple bullet points. So it says, contact the National Cemetery Scheduling Office. The funeral director you've chosen can help you with these steps too. Okay, here's the 2 bullet points. For burial in a national cemetery, fax any discharge papers to the National Cemetery Scheduling Office at 866-900-6417, or scan and email the papers to their email address, which is NCA, which is National Cemetery Administration, .scheduling. So nca.scheduling@va.gov. With the person's name you're requesting burial benefits for in the subject line. Then call 800-535-1117 to confirm the burial application. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 7:30 p.m., 9 to 5:30 on Saturdays. That's both Eastern Time. Be sure you have all the information ready that's listed in the steps 1 and 2 above. All right, so when can you schedule a burial? National cemeteries are open for burials Monday through Friday. When a federal holiday is on a Monday or a Friday, national cemeteries will be open for burials one day during that holiday weekend. To find available burial times for each cemetery, you can call the National Cemetery Scheduling Office. They're there again, the 8 to 7:30 and then 9 to 5:30 Eastern Time on Saturday. The National Cemetery Scheduling Office is closed on the 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. Would I ever need to contact the National Cemetery directly? Yes, you should contact the National Cemetery directly in these cases: to schedule a burial for an active duty service member, to cancel or reschedule a burial, to change any information that you've already provided to the scheduling office, to request a disinterment and or relocation to another national cemetery, to get information that's specific to a cemetery, like what can be inscribed on a headstone, the policy for flowers, and the hours of operation. Next question: can I get information about the Burial at Sea program? So for those that don't know, the Navy actually operates a Burial at Sea program, but that's not what this is really going to get into. I'll just give you the quick version here. If you have any questions about the Burial at Sea program, please contact the United States Navy Mortuary Affairs Office at 866-787-0081. They're there Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Can you get help paying for burial costs? If you're the spouse of record or designated family member of the veteran, you may be able to get financial help for burial and funeral costs. And my suggestion is work with an accredited rep in the vicinity in which all this is going on and taking place. Contact the cemetery directly. Contact the National Cemetery Administration Office phone number. Talk with the funeral director. All of that stuff is good, and doing a little footwork up front will definitely help make that process much smoother. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Not the best topic in the world, but it is an important one for all of us. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.